In this short video, we're going to go over the difference between shifts of the demand curve and movement along the demand curve. Let me start by drawing a standard graph with price on the vertical axis and quantity on the horizontal axis. And let me draw the inverse demand curve in blue. Suppose we start with an equilibrium where the price is $10 and the quantity is 8 units. Note that this is where demand and supply intersect. So I could draw the supply curve. But I'm going to remove supply from the graph so we can focus our attention on the demand curve. Let's first consider a shift of the inverse demand curve itself. Suppose it shifts to the right. The dashed line here represents the new inverse demand curve. Note that at the same price of $10, now a larger amount is demanded. Maybe now 20 units are bought at a price of $10. This implies a fundamental shift in consumer demand. There are many reasons this could occur. For example, maybe more consumers moved into the market under consideration, or consumers' taste fundamentally changed, or the price of a substitute good goes up. Taste can change for a number of reasons. For example, maybe in early 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic struck, there could have been a very large increase in demand for surgical masks. In regard to substitutes, if the price of an iPhone goes up, the number of Android phones bought at a given price might increase. What all these examples have in common is that there was a fundamental change which altered the amount consumers are willing to purchase at a given price. It is important to distinguish between this, a shift in the demand curve, where the demand curve itself actually changes, comparing that with a movement along a given demand curve. A shift along the demand curve doesn't involve a change in the amount bought at a given price. So what did change to lead to a shift along the demand curve? Price changed. Usually this occurs because supply shifts, causing a move to a different equilibrium point along the original demand curve. Let's draw the old supply curve, and let me get rid of some of this stuff here. And now let's draw the new supply curve. Why might supply shift? That is, what would cause a fundamental shift in supply, changing the amount supplied at a given price? Well, there are a number of examples. Possibly the most obvious is when a warehouse burns down in a fire, suddenly removing some supply capacity from the market. Or maybe the price of inputs in the production process change. Another example is when the firm learns over time how to produce an item more efficiently, therefore using less resources such as labor when producing a set quantity. The distinction explained in this video, while relatively simple, is of great importance in empirical analysis. The distinction between fundamental shifts of demand versus shifts along a given demand curve is therefore a key lesson for later courses in economics, particularly econometrics.